Hey guys, this is the Amazon of the 1900s. Recently, the former US retail giant Sears filed for bankruptcy. Many of you might remember Sears as that half-empty store in the deserted part of the mall, but what if I told you that they were actually the original Amazon? R.W. Sears, a railroad employee, got his start by taking advantage of the pushy sales tactics of wholesalers at the time. Manufacturers would send unsolicited orders of merchandise to retailers at a marked up price. When the retailer said that they didn't order them, the wholesaler would then say, "Oh, why don't you just keep them at a discounted price?" and thus make a fat profit along the way. In 1886, when one retailer refused a shipment of watches, Sears stepped up and purchased the watches for himself and then resold them to other railroad employees. What made this really interesting was at the time, the US was just starting to transition away from solar time and over to unified time zones. The clocks were based on noon for when the sun was at its highest point throughout the day, which of course was different for every single city. With over 300 different times, the railroad had to account for all of these when running across the country, which became more and more of an issue as the Intercontinental Railroad became a real thing. Because of this, Sears was very successful in reselling those watches. He profited about $5,000, or in today's money, about $130,000. With his business partner Alva Roebuck, they restructured as a mail order service for rural areas. In early days of the US expansion, mom and pop general stores really were the lifeblood of rural communities, as that was where you basically bought everything from. The problem was that because the general store was basically the only game in town, they could kind of charge whatever they wanted. Most people shopped on credit, which meant that it was completely arbitrary what the store owner wanted to charge people. For example, if I want to give Ken a 5% interest rate, but I see Matt walk in and I think he's a little untrustworthy, I might want to charge him 20% because I don't know if I'm going to get my money back. Sorry, Matt. It's okay. Actually, you're very trustworthy. You get a 3% interest rate. It's Ken that you gotta watch out for. So when Sears started selling products for clear and fair prices that were importantly the same for everyone, they were instantly a big hit. While the US economy was tanking, Sears still managed to turn a profit of $89 million in 1931. Equivalent to around $2.4 billion in today's money, this was 1% of the US GDP at the time. To really give you some context there, Apple, which is a $1 trillion company today, only accounts for about half a percentage of the US GDP in 2018. The Sears Catalog had everything, and I mean that. They had literally everything. So this is a reprint of the what year is this? 1908. 1908. So this is basically what you would get when you picked up the Sears Catalog or when it was mailed to you. I mean, look at this. I get some famous condenser shoes for men, which are only $2.50 per pair. I can get a full bathroom for $43.80. The White Powder Wonder for $7.
What was the White Powder Wonder?
It's a pistol.
Oh.
We have no agents or solicitors. People claiming to be our representatives are swindlers. This is incredible, right? But you think that back in 1908, there was nothing anywhere close to this, right? You walk down to the general store and they might have like 2 pairs of pants and a jacket. But here you could order literally anything you wanted. One of the more interesting things Sears sold were entire houses. They realized that they were basically selling everything you needed to build a house, so why not just package it up and sell it as a kit? In 1908, Sears released a dedicated catalog for homes complete with floor plans. Eventually, they had 370 different models to choose from. These houses were priced at as little as $191 or all the way up to $6,500 for the lavish Magnolia. Around 70,000 kits were sold between 1908 and 1940 when Sears finally discontinued selling houses. Some of the biggest customers were companies such as factories. They would move into town and purchase hundreds of these kit homes that would then serve as employee housing. These Sears homes were so well designed that a lot of developers would just purchase one of these houses as a kit home and then copy the design for an entire neighborhood. As a result, a lot of old school neighborhoods here in the United States look a lot like Sears homes even though they weren't originals. Much like IKEA, there was some assembly required when purchasing your Sears kit home. It only took you a mere 90 days if you're a craftsman of average skill, or you could just ask some friends to help and get it done a little bit faster than 90 days. Although actually based on IKEA, I think that's probably about how long some of my things have taken to build. Now if you think that it sounds crazy to buy an entire house from a catalog, well, think again, because Amazon actually does sell houses today. Ranging between $10,000 to $65,000, these are certainly not as elaborate as some of the Sears homes, but the idea that you can buy an entire house off of Amazon is pretty cool. They even offer free shipping on some models, although sadly there's no 2-day prime shipping. I'm just imagining a house, like, oh, it's Monday. I feel like a house. Maybe Wednesday I can go build it. No big deal. Eventually, Sears moved away from the delivery business and into brick and mortar retail stores, where in the 1950s, they basically invented the modern mall as we know it. Ironically, they were being put out of business by Amazon, a company entirely focused on deliveries, unless you count all of the brick and mortar stores that they're now opening, because time is a flat circle and retail stores come and go and nothing is ever permanent in this world. Anyway, if that's a downer on a way to end the video, you can check out some of our other episodes of This Is over here, including some much more cheery topics that I'm sure will not be as cheery by the time you actually watch them. And if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go get a little bit more acquainted with the Sears catalog on page 847.